So a lot of people, when they start down this path, they're crocheting or they've been crocheting since they were a little kid, or they're painting, or they decided to start making jewelry because it just seemed like a fun thing to do. And then the people in their life say, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. You should sell this. You could really make a lot of money if you sold this online, if you sold this at the farmer's market, if you sold this on Etsy." And so, people are like, "Oh, wow, I could have a business and I could sell this." So that's how a lot of people kind of move from being in a hobby to believing that they want a business. And the difference between a hobby and a business is a business, you have to do the business work, right? And I see a lot of people come into Handmade Sellers Club and that we talk to that are like, "Look, I don't want to do any of the business stuff. I don't want to do the marketing. I don't want to post. I don't want to have to keep track of my sales. I don't want to have to do all of these things to get business. Just tell me the way that where I can shortcut and just sell the stuff that I have without doing any of the business stuff." That, my friend, is a hobby. And you're probably not going to sell everything that you have having a hobby like that. You can make some sales to friends and family. You can set up, look, I have an aunt that all she does is sets up a few times a year at some very specific shows. She has her hobby, her thing that's keeping her busy throughout the year. She does a little bit of everything, which is perfectly fine because she just does these handful of shows just to move stuff along. She doesn't need the money. She's not trying to pay the bills. She just needs to move it along so she can make space for new stuff to make. And she likes the interaction, talking to people, and it feels good to have somebody actually give you money for what you make. That's a great hobby. She has never once asked for my advice because she doesn't care. She doesn't want to sell online. She doesn't even want to sell necessarily more at the shows. She just really enjoys making stuff and she wants to just move some things along. If that's you, just do the in-person shows. I do not think that a hobbyist needs to figure out online sales. If all you want to do is make stuff and then move some things along to make more things, then give gifts, sell at some local shows, set up your local farmers market. You're going to build a great community there. Plenty of people at our local farmers market, strictly hobbyists. They have no interest in business. A lot of them don't even have a name. They're just like, "I don't know, I'm Terry. I'm here to sell stuff." And they make a little bit of extra spending money, and that's perfectly fine. That's a hobbyist. If you want to own a business, if you want to have something that's actually paying the bills, if your intent is, "I want to have a business that sells a product that then pays my bills," you have to approach it completely different. One, we have to look at the product. A hobbyist can get away with a lot more than what a business owner can. We have to have a unique product focus. There has to be a brand there. We have to know that it's something that people actually want to buy, that there's a market for it. We've got to make sure that what we're bringing to the marketplace is of high quality and not something that looks like a 10-year-old put together, right? We have to make sure that we're bringing something quality to the marketplace. That's part of the considerations with starting a business. But then we need to learn photography. We need to learn how to post to Facebook. You don't have to move to having a website, but eventually, if you move to a website, yeah, you're going to need to know some tech. You're going to have to learn some new skills. And that's a mistake I see a lot of people make is like, all I want to do is make the jewelry or do the crochet or make the candles. I don't want to do any of this other stuff. And I actually saw there was a comment on one of my posts the other day where somebody said, "What I want to do is just make the thing that I want to do. And then I bring somebody into my company that does all of the marketing. And I get 60% of the profit. They get 40%, but it's my business and they don't get to own my business. And if I die, they can have the business." And I thought that's a very telling statement because basically what they're saying is, I don't want to do any of the business part. All I want to do is creating. But when I see that, what I see is you are the replaceable piece. Most sellers think that their creativity for the thing that they're making is the business. But that person that does all the marketing, they're the least replaceable out of the two of you. They could easily drop you and have 10,000 other makers in line, and they could have their pick and choice of who they're going to bring in for a partnership like that because they have the more important skill and the skill that is more difficult, right? So you making your product, while you're very talented and all of that, the marketer is the one who knows how to make money. right? They know how to get your customers, they know how to make sales. They're the engine of your entire company. So I just thought it was funny that a lot of makers view it that way, like, oh, I have my amazing products, I'll just plug somebody in to do the marketing. It's not that simple. Most people don't know how to do the marketing. And if they do know how to do the marketing, they don't need you. So you need to learn the marketing. If you're going to own a business, you need to have that valuable skill set, because that is what makes it a business versus a hobby. You can be as skilled as you want at your art, but if you don't understand the marketing, and you can't afford to hire a marketing person that's worth their salt, because the really good ones are really, really expensive because they have skills that nobody else has. But if you learn the skills yourself, you can actually do better than what most hired marketing people can be, because you're presenting yourself to the marketplace. It's just a different dynamic. If you learn those skills, you can sell your product. You can sell tons of your product. So you can't ignore that side of it. You can't have all of the good parts and not the more difficult part. But the difficult part doesn't have to be extremely difficult. There are easier ways to do it. From what I've seen with Handmade Sellers Club members, is a lot of them figure out that, hey, the marketing can actually be fun, and learning the marketing can be fun. Yeah, it's a bit of a learning curve there, but we give a lot of shortcuts, and we show you the fun and interactive way to do marketing, so you don't feel like you're doing all of the boring stuff. But if you say, I absolutely don't want to do that part, hands off, I don't want to touch it, then just accept the fact that you have a hobby. And that's okay. It's okay to just have a hobby. But if you want a business, you got to pull up your big girl pants and do the things that business owners do. And marketing is at the very top of that list.